Hey everyone, it's Eme, the Afro Queer Coach, and I want to share a little bit of a reflection today on immigration and on my experiences as an immigrant in the United States. So I came here with my family, my parents, and 4 siblings right before 2000, and we were Rwandese nationals. We came here for vacation, and due to the war going on back home, we really were in a position that we couldn't go back without facing a lot of risks, and so we filed for refugee status and were granted asylum, and that's how we ended up staying in the U.S. I can't imagine what it was like for my parents to kind of, leave everything behind and figure out how to make it work with 5 kids. I will say that there's no way we could have done it if it weren't for our community, and I mean specifically other Rwandese people who were already living in the U.S. We stayed with some other families, dozens of people to a house. We really had that hospitality that is something that I love about my culture, and there's really no way that we could have survived the experience without them. Now, something that my family in particular, or that I remember in particular, is kind of reorienting ourselves to the idea of being not just African but also Black, right? In a society that doesn't even claims to acknowledge, African people's roots by, having the African American identity, but in reality, if you really did, in order to know that someone is an African, you have to know that they're a human. And U.S. society does not humanize Africans, people of African descent, as evidenced by the enslavement of Africans and the lack of reparations, the lack of acknowledgement from the government that this is something that was real, that happened, and that also laid a foundation for American capitalism as we know it. So there's that piece. And as a Black immigrant, I found myself getting all these messages, to be anti-Black, to see my immigrantness as something that separated me from Black people who are descendants of enslaved Africans, and I'm not gonna lie, that works a lot. There are a lot of other African immigrants who I know come here and immediately get the message that in order for you to survive and be accepted in this society, then you're going to have to distance yourself with these people with whom you share so much, with whom you share common, history and ancestral DNA. You have to separate yourself from them so that we can afford you, an extra penny of tolerance or whatever. So that was something that I, once I started going to school, and once I realized that, there's really no difference between how I'm being treated as, a Black, Rwandese girl, than how, homegirl's being treated as a Black girl from Memphis or whatever. Like, there really is no difference, because we're all seen as, just we're seen as trash by a lot of the institutions that I went through, and I'm talking about INS, what was INS at that time, immigration, the federal immigration department. It was in schools. It was in the churches that we went to. We went to church with a lot of, well-meaning white people who constantly reminded us, oh, y'all are like so different because y'all actually have a struggle, in a way saying that, Black Americans didn't have a struggle or didn't have a worthy struggle and weren't deserving of the respect, be it super paternalistic. They weren't, and I'm not even going to say respect, the tolerance. They weren't worthy of the paternalistic tolerance and the false empathies that these white people at our church were affording to my family and I. So it didn't take a lot to see through that, to see through those messages. And I think the more I came into my own identity, I realized how toxic that divide could be. And I realized that, for the purposes of moving through the Western world and for the purposes of moving through this particular, form of capitalism, it's absolutely 100% necessary for me to identify myself in a way that points to my connection with people of African descent who have been here for generations. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because there's a lot of talk about immigration, so far, and I think that these are, stories that need to be told. This is not just a system that rips family apart. It rips people apart. It rips communities apart, not just on a physical level, not just in the sense of having people in detention for, years at a time, awaiting a trial or deportation. This is, this system asks of us who are here now to detach ourselves from everything that makes us, in my opinion, from everything that makes us, strong and beautiful and makes us connect with that ancestral strength that we all have in our DNA. Because let me tell you, there's no way that you can descend from people who have been so resilient and not have that in your DNA. I'm just letting you know, Black and brown people, we come from incredible strength. We come from incredible love, as much as we come from, histories of torment and, enslavement and genocide. We also come from all the resilience that made that job even harder for people. So we're here. And with that said, I wanted to share something. I have an assignment for my coaching learning community, where we're going to be sharing our Where I'm From poems with each other this afternoon. So the whole concept of a Where I'm From poem is that you're basically saying where you're from, what sights and sounds and people and memories you come from, so it's a very, it's an exercise that just really moves you through remembering where you're from, remembering the experiences and the people and the memories that have shaped you. So mine is like hella long. I'm only going to share a small part of it, which is the part where I talk about my journey as a refugee and immigrant. So let's see, let's find it. Okay, and then just so you know, I just have to say it because I want y'all to know what I'm talking about. The first people that I reference in the first line, Muhumuza and Nyabingi, are one and the same, also separate, entities and beings. and they basically come from my indigenous religion, one of my indigenous religions in Rwanda, which was based around the worship of a deity named Nyabingi, who would possess people and engage them in a battle for justice against the Europeans. And she was known for possessing women and young people primarily. So, you know, there you have like this movement, this religious movement that's based around, you know, women being engulfed with this power to fight the oppressor. It's just totally beautiful, and I'm obsessed with it. So here we go. I am from the spark of Muhumuza and Nyabingi's fiery rage. Death to colonialism, death to imperialism. I am from, how did you get to America? Asked over and over again from people who don't even ask the same of themselves. I am from new African immigrants. I'm from unnamed gratitude to the descendants of slaves. I'm from INS and anti-black assimilation tactics. People scared of black unity. I am black and proud with an audacity learned from Asada and Miriam and Nina and Lauren. I'm from a generation that reclaimed black as fuck niggadom with side eye, clap back, fuck whitey, fuck America with 3 Ks, fuck the Mayflower, Pilgrims, Quakers, and Ellis Island. I am from Mothers of the Combahee River Collective. I am from Claudia Jones and black lesbian socialist women with no time to suffer fools and trans exclusionary radical feminists. I am from Southern queer organizing schools, eviction defenses, and my own damn eviction. From working class femme for femme black love with 2 pairs of big lips and titties and nappy hair and baby please braid my hair. I am from shared experiences of misogynoir and body shaming, names that people cannot pronounce nor spell. And then, you know, it goes on and on. But I'm thinking in time I'll probably add more to that. I was kind of scribbling stuff down, trying to get my poem done for school this evening. But yeah, you know, I really encourage you to look at your own stories and where you're from, and, you know, recognize that no, we are not a nation of immigrants. We are a nation of indigenous people who have had genocide, an ongoing genocide committed against them. We are a nation of European settlers and colonialists who have stolen land and enslaved Africans in order to build and accumulate wealth. You know, we are from Mexico, you know, we are from the Southwest being Mexico, and, you know, ignorant people asking folks to go back to somewhere where they're actually from. You know, we are not a nation of immigrants, because I think that kind of narrative really dilutes the reality of how this society has come about, and it would be a disservice to even like promote that in any way, shape, or form. There is power that can be, you can examine the ways that power works by seeing how people have found themselves on this continent. And I'll leave it at that, okay? I hope that you all have a good rest of your day, your week, your weekend, etc. Just, you know, stay strong and remember where you're from. Remember to tap into that beautiful, beautiful intuition that comes, you know, from deep within your bones. So hope you enjoy this message. If you ever have questions, you can put it in the comments. You can email me info@carolynperuth.com, or if you're my friend, you can just call me. All right, bye.